And the more I've thought about it, the more I'm convinced that Redwall just may be the gateway fantasy for young readers who eventually find their way to the world of Middle-earth. At first glance, Brian Jacques Redwall series and Tolkien's Middle-earth Legendarium feel very different. One is about woodland creatures feasting and fending off vermin, and the other is a mythic saga of elves and men and the fall of kingdoms. But if you look closer and pay a little bit more attention, the similarities start to stack up. Let's start off with the spiritual foundations found in both worlds. Tolkien grounds his stories of Middle-earth in Eru Ilúvatar, the supreme creator of Middle-earth, clearly analogous to the Abrahamic God. It also has archangel-like beings called the Ainur who help sing the world into existence. And this divine structure is what shapes the moral and metaphysical weight of Tolkien's mythology. Redwall, however, takes a different but related approach. Redwall Abbey is a religious-like institution at the heart of the series that's guided by abbots, abbesses, mothers, and even a friar. It provides ritual, order, and moral direction, and Jacques gives us Martin the Warrior, who isn't a god but is treated with saint-like reverence. His spirit shows up in multiple novels in the series, guiding characters, inspiring them, keeping them safe, etc. And in both series deals with prophecies and destiny. Tolkien has examples like Aragorn being the foretold king, or Frodo's burden as ring bearer, whereas Jacques often sets his young heroes on paths foreshadowed by riddles, visions, or even ancient lore. Both of these series are also similar in the way that they handle history and legacy. Take Redwall, for example. You have the kingdom of Salamandastran and the Badgelords that rule over it, and their long lineages and dynasties stretching all the way back to Lord Brocktree and going all the way past Cregor Roseeyes. And then in Tolkien's mythos, you have Finrod, Fingolfin, and their descendants. You have the children of Húrin, you have the line of Elendil, and so on and so forth. Neither of these authors tell stories in isolation. Everything is very layered, with history stacked upon history and layers of remembered past. Both stories make use of central locations as anchor points for the stories in the larger mythos. You have Mossflower Woods and even Redwall Abbey, and in Tolkien's mythos, you have Middle-earth. They're both reoccurring stages that provide not only a setting, but a way to further bind the stories together in a way that creates further resonance. And of course, we can't forget about the battles and wars that both of these universes deal with. Redwall provides it with everything from small-scale skirmishes and duels to full-on battles in which the woodland creatures are defending themselves against the vermin trying to take over their lands. Tolkien gives us all that and more. You have famous duels such as Fingolfin versus Morgoth. You have the Battle of Helm's Deep, Pelennor Fields, the War of Wrath. The list goes on and on. Neither of these authors shy away from combat, but rather they use them to highlight the cost of conflict, as well as the bravery of individuals and the unity of communities. And then of course you have the hierarchies of power and wisdom in each series. Each author gives us a race that's seen as the mightiest and often even the wisest. In Redwall, it's of course the Badgers, who are towering, fierce, and often fated for leadership. With Tolkien, it's the Elves, who are unmatched in beauty, wisdom, and longevity. Both races often serve as moral and martial anchors in their respective worlds. Moving on to the cultural diversity and density of each universe. Both Jacques and Tolkien populate their worlds with different races and cultures, each with their own specialties, traditions, dialects, and languages. In Redwall, you have the moles with their earthy, rustic speech.
Time by sounds of it. It's a circus. Where am you going?
The hares with their military slang. You have the otters and their seafaring ways. You even have the shrews and their constant bickering and arguing. Tolkien takes it several steps further, crafting whole languages and dialects, customs, traditions, specialties, identities, all of that. For each of his races, the elves, the men, the dwarves, the hobbits, the orcs, and so on and so forth. He gets so in-depth and detailed. Both authors do this to create richness and depth and make the worlds feel alive and real. In both of these series, there's a lot of fellowship, there's a lot of feasting, there's a lot of singing. Jacques gives us legendary mouth-watering descriptions of food and feasting. You have the scones, the deeper than ever pie, the hot root soup, the cordials, the October ale. Man, I could go on and on. It's similar to Tolkien's hobbits with their love of ale, their pipe weed, their love of singing, dancing, cultivating the earth, cooking, food, all of that. Both authors fill their worlds with songs, poems, and riddles, and it serves as not only a sort of cultural glue, but a way to preserve memories and customs and traditions throughout the histories. We also have in both of these series the common theme of unity against evil, the struggle against darkness never being fought alone. Again, in Redwall, you have the woodland creatures like the mice, the hedgehogs, the shrews, the otters, the moles, and even the birds sometimes, fighting against creatures like the weasels, the stoats, the rats, the foxes, the wildcats, etc. And in the stories of Middle-earth, you have the various races like the elves, the men, the dwarves, even the eagles sometimes, and other races banding together to fight against the forces of Morgoth or Sauron or whatever villain or evil foe that they happen to be facing at the time. Both of these series highlight the fact that true strength comes in the form of unity across differences. United we stand, divided we fall. And one of my absolute favorite things that both of these series share is the theme that heroism can spring from the unlikeliest of places. Neither of these authors reserve heroism for the mighty. In Redwall, you have the Dibbins, the mothers, the non-combatants, often making the biggest difference in the wars or the outcomes of the stories. And in The Lord of the Rings, you of course have the hobbits who were dismissed as insignificant and small, but actually ended up carrying the fate of the world. And you even have Eowyn, who was overlooked by her culture, but ended up being the one who struck the final blow against the Witch King. Both of these authors remind us that courage and heroism isn't just about power and size, but more so about spirit and sacrifice. And last but not least, we have the common themes of loyalty, mercy, and forgiveness. Both of these worlds uphold those things as virtues that are just as, if not more important than power and strength. The Fellowship mirrors the camaraderie found in Redwall Abbey, and Frodo and Gandalf's mercy towards Gollum parallels the mercy shown to veiled Sixclaw in the Outcast of Redwall. In both cases, compassion rather than the sword is the turning point of the story. When you stack all of these parallels together, the prophecies, the spiritual foundations, the histories, the lineages, the reoccurring settings, the battles, the cultural richness, it makes sense why both of these stories, these mythos, resonate with fans so deeply. Jacques introduces readers to the very same values and concepts that Tolkien expands into epic myth. For many of us, the journey to Middle-earth didn't start with The Hobbit, it started in Mossflower Woods within the walls of Redwall Abbey. If you're watching this and you're a fan of both series, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, stay lit.